In the last 2 years, there's been a lot of effort put into a better understanding about the biology related to viruses, viral vectors, mRNA, because the vaccines for COVID were developed with the help of these technologies. But I do want to dive a little bit deeper into what phages are and how you would describe them. There's also a TED Talk available made by you in which you said that phages are the superheroes we've been waiting for in the fight against antimicrobial resistance. So maybe you can elaborate that a little bit further.
Yeah, sure. So I think first of all, let's focus just briefly on the antimicrobial resistance crisis. I mean, what do we mean with that, and why do we need superheroes? We've been very successful in combating bacterial infections in the past 50 years because we've developed what's called small molecule antibiotics, so chemicals that are able to kill bacteria and to stop them from growing. And we've all taken antibiotics. They're a huge part of our medicine. Any surgery that will be done requires antibiotics to make sure that there are no post-surgery infections down the line that can become life-threatening. And so we've come used to being able to control bacterial infections really easily with antibiotics, except that bacteria have also learned that antibiotics are around, and so they've started developing resistance to the antibiotics, meaning that they can grow despite the antibiotics being present. And we're sort of at the start of a very worrying development where today already we have, I think it's 40,000 infections every year in the European Union that can no longer be treated with antibiotics, where we just don't have the antibiotics available anymore to treat them. But it's actually getting much worse with every year. And so it could potentially make modern medicine as we know it more difficult if we no longer have functioning antibiotics. So if you think about a setting where you need a new liver, you need a new kidney, and you're getting a transplant, well, during the transplantation processes and also afterwards, the immune system needs to be downregulated so that you can actually cope with the new organ. In that time frame, you're very susceptible to bacterial infections, and we need antibiotics to combat them. So if suddenly antibiotics don't work anymore, well, can we still do transplantation surgery the way we do it today? Just one example of why antibiotics matter so much. So it's a bit scary to understand that we are running out of antibiotics that are still working. And so we need new superheroes in that fight against antibiotic resistance. And definitely phages and phage-derived entities are one potential avenue where these could come from. Why is that so? Well, as I mentioned before, phages in nature are the natural enemies of bacteria. They've coexisted with bacteria for billions of years. And how a phage works is it's a virus that can recognize typically the cell wall of specific bacteria. It then injects its DNA into the bacterial cell and reprograms the bacterial cell to start producing lots of new phages. And so that by the time all of these phages are produced, the bacterial cell then expresses so-called lysins, small chemical entities that can open up the cell wall of the bacteria. And at that point, the bacterial cell bursts, releases all of the new phages, all of the new viruses to go out hunting again for new bacteria. And so that's a very powerful mechanic because it does something that we're looking for. You have a natural entity that can kill bacterial cells as part of its replication cycle, and it uses these chemical compounds or these proteins, actually not chemicals, it's biological compounds, the lysins, to open up the cell wall, which is also a powerful mechanic. So